Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett.
Good evening and welcome. There are some superb movies ahead on Movie Review Universe. Next time, we'll join Billy Zane as he tries to save the world as a classic comic book hero in the 1996 film, The Phantom. Right now though, it's time for Jumanji. Hello, and welcome to Nobody Does It Bennett, Movie Review Universe. I am the Greg Bennett Experience, and joining me for this adventure is Alice. Welcome along to the show.
Hello.
To tell you what, Alice, I'm excited about going through Jumanji today. What we are going to be doing is reviewing the movie as well as act out scenes from the movie with some quirky and unique voices.
Ooh.
It's part review, part audiobook, part play, but hopefully a lot of fun. If you would like to write into the show and give us your thoughts on Jumanji, or maybe how bad our voices are, well, you can. Who knows, we might read it on air. You can go to the Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. That's NobodyDIBennett. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's again, Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. So Alice, before we go into Jumanji, not literally of course though, because that would be frightening, what are your thoughts and memories on this film?
Jumanji is one of my favourite movies from my childhood, I think. I watched it so many times, over and over again. Probably annoyed my parents so much. Yeah, I loved it. I had it on VHS, if anyone knows what that is.
The amount of times I watched this on VHS. I remember winning tickets from somewhere, going with my dad, watching it, and it was a good film, but as it's gotten on older and stuff, I love it more. And there's something about how dark it is.
It's freaky. Yeah.
Dark as you could probably go without not being a kid's film.
Yeah.
I like darkness to it, but I love the adventure part of it as well. There's so much to this movie that, but there is something magical about most Robin Williams films, especially in the 90s, from the likes of Hook, Mrs. Doubtfire, Flubber, Jack, and yes, Jumanji. You know you're in for some iconic scenes, a fair few laughs, but for me, I really look for those heartwarming moments that Robin Williams sprinkles in. When Robin turns on the drama, you really feel it. So yeah, he's always funny, Robin Williams, in these films. You know, you're going to get that every time, pretty much, from any movie.
As you said, heartfelt as well. Whenever you saw Robin Williams come up in the 90s, you're like, ooh, in for a ride.
His acting is so good. He's seen as a comedian, but when he puts on the drama, like you see Good Will Hunting, he won the Oscar for that, for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, that was such a good movie, yeah.
He hits something deep.
Yeah.
I know. He pulls the heartstring that you didn't realise was there until he actually tugs at it. And all his performances, he's just so innocent in most of them. Like Jack especially, when he's the kid that's growing up.
It's very childlike.
He is. And I think he kind of carries that through the films, and why he does family movies so well is you really can, either as a kid or as an adult, you can associate with how Robin Williams feels. Right, so we've got Bonnie Hunt, who plays grown-up Sarah, has done quite a lot of voice work for the likes of Pixar. Kirsten Dunst as Judy is a big one for me. I was around about the same age as she was, and, she is. I won't say she was, because she's died.
She died.
I was around about the same age as she is, and I believe this is the first thing I saw her in. So from this, to Small Soldiers, to Spider-Man, yeah, I had a bit of a crush.
Ooh.
Kirsten Dunst and Christina Ricci were the ones for me growing up. Christina Ricci, of course, Addams Family. I think she was in Casper as well.
Yeah, she was great. I loved her too.
Yeah. And she's still around too, so I won't use was in the past tense for her either.
She was great.
Well, she's in Addams Family. Are they all dead or are they alive? I don't know.
Oh, who knows?
Never explained. Bradley Pierce, who plays Peter, was also the voice of Mrs. Potts' son, Chip, in the animated Beauty and the Beast. Another great movie.
Another classic 90s as well.
Yeah, 90s was a really good era.
I agree.
So like 80s and 90s movies is where I live.
Yeah. Oh, same. Yeah.
Where most of this podcast lives as well. For a good reason.
For the best.
Yeah. So, Alice, have you got anything else to say before we dive into this movie?
No, I think we should get into it.
Let's get the voices.
Yeah.
Right, Alice, are you ready to play a game? Let's roll the dice and go through Jumanji
Okay.
from 1995.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Quack.
Movie starts with some mystical green smoke on a black background, transforming into the word Jumanji. You can hear the drums in the background. Then the title transforms back into smoke, so you hear the... Cut to 1869, good year that was, where a teenage boy is leading a younger boy through some woods at night, along with a horse and a cart. They remove a big, heavy chest from the back of the cart. You can hear wolves howling in the background. Ooh. As the younger kids get scared from the wolves, the teenage boy says, "Come on, we're almost rid of it." As they start to bury the chest, the boy falls in the hole. The chest starts to beat heavily like a drum. I don't know why it does this. It's almost like the Sauron from Lord of the Rings. The chest is almost calling to the boy.
Kind of is, actually.
Yes, he will take the Jumanji board game. He will use it against us. Once the body gets out. So the Jumanji thing has massacred this boy. No, once the boy gets out, he just wants to run. Other teenage boy reminds him that they need to finish this. What if someone digs it up? Make God have mercy on his soul. Lightning crashes behind it. As the boys ride away from the buried chest, there is a stone pillar that reads 1M Brantford. So you notice that when the lightning was striking and they go through the cart, you saw that 1M Brantford? That comes back later. Drums continue to beat from the buried chest. Oh, that drum. Every time. Good. Cut to Brantford, New Hampshire, 1969. Shout out to James Horner, who composed the score. I do enjoy the themes he creates for Jumanji. He's got that light-hearted at the start, and then there's the...
Yeah, it's such a good contrast.
It's just the dark with the light, and it kind of they weave back and forth. Mm-hmm. Very well done. You don't really notice any big themes like a Batman or a Superman theme in this, but the music plays such a role. It's almost a character itself in the film. Yeah,
well, listening to it again as well, it was so nostalgic just to hear the soundtrack.
And just, it just brought back so many memories. Young Alan is riding his bike through the town. Seems like a pleasant enough place. As Alan rides past a statue, you can see the name of General Angus Parish, showing that the parish name is one of pride and recognition in Brantford. I always see that and I think of Van Pelt as well. Obviously, there's a mirror kind of like his ancestor, I think his great-grandfather or something with that, because it's very Van Pelt looking.
Yeah.
Hence, I guess Van Pelt later on, we'll talk about him as well. Young Alan is chased on his bike by some local bullies. Young Alan manages to get to his dad's parish shoe factory. The bullies tell him to go run to Daddy. They'll be waiting. It's like, if I saw a bunch of kids outside the factory that are going to beat up my son, you know, I'll do more than send them back out there to fight.
Yeah. Also, I'd just hide somewhere in the factory.
Yeah, but one scene, they're destroying his bike. It's like, if I was a parent, I would be spewing, because how much did they spend on that bike that they're now just recklessly destroying?
Maybe because he's so rich. It's like, maybe. Buy you a new one, son.
We'll just get you a convertible bike next week, even though they're all convertible bikes. Right. It just sounds fancier.
Yeah.
Young Alan makes his way through the factory. He talks to Carl, one of the shoemakers. He has something to show young Alan. Carl has designed one of the world's first sneakers. What is it? I hope it's in a good enough voice. I'm not sure if it's close enough to the other boys or not, but... What is it? What is it? Man, this is the future. If I can get Wilt Chamberlain to wear them, there'll be a pair of those in every closet in America. That's going to be the heart of fashion. Young Alan looks through a window, seeing that Billy and his goons are still outside, and they destroyed his bike. Of course, like we mentioned before. Why did the parents let them destroy the bike?
Yeah.
I guess it's the 60s. They didn't have time to care.
Yeah, apparently not.
Young Alan talks to his dad. He places the sneaker on a conveyor belt. His dad says how it's much too dangerous for him to be on the factory floor. Young Alan asks his dad for a ride home. As he does, the conveyor belt that the sneaker is on starts to move.
I gotta say, it's pretty funny that he finds it too dangerous for him to be on the floor of the shoe factory rather than go outside and be beaten up by like 5 kids.
That's actually a good point, because he's like, you got to face them like a man, but don't be on the factory floor. It's too dangerous. Yeah. But it's safer in here than it is out there. That's a good point. Son, you're gonna have to face them sooner or later. Look, if you're afraid of something, you got to stand and face it. Now run along, son. As young Alan is leaving, Sam asks Carl what it was he wanted to show him. As Carl was looking, a loud noise starts coming from one of the machines. Sam reaches into the machine and pulls out Carl's sneaker that has now been shredded by the machine. As Sam yells, "Who did this?" you can see young Alan slump away. Carl says it was his fault. But we know it wasn't, Alan. I'm wondering, the way he looks, he doesn't look surprised when it went through the machine. Did he do it deliberately to, like, upset his dad?
I almost wonder. I didn't pick up on that initially, but watching it, I was like, it's like he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't have any shock, like, oh, it was just, yeah. I think he always did it deliberately because he's a little...
Yeah, I think so.
Little SOB at the start, old Alan. Or young Alan. He's not old Alan yet. Young Alan goes outside to grab his bike when he is attacked by Billy and his posse. They give young Alan a bleeding lip and steal his bike. Billy says to young Alan that just because he's a parish doesn't mean he can hang around with his girlfriend. More on this later. As young Alan is attacked, you can see the stone pillar that says 1M Brantford. See, it's coming back. The factory is located exactly where the kids buried the Jumanji board game at the start that was going. It is outside the parachute factory that I've put, the 1M Brantford. Young Alan can hear a drum sound coming from a nearby construction site. As he gets closer, it seems to intensify. No one else seems to be bothered by it, though. Once young Alan locates where it was coming from, it seems to stop. Young Alan searches a dirt area in the construction site and finds a large chest. He drags it out and uses a shovel to break the lock. So you can see how rusted up that lock is, but it's the one-shot shovel from a kid. I always find that in movies, how they do the one-shot shovel, how easy it is.
Yeah, I know.
Like, they smash open a lock, it's like...
Very convenient.
It's not how lock's supposed to work. Yes, it's a little rusted, but it would take more than one shot from a kid, I'm sure. I love how the chest is full of sand, and when young Alan puts his hands into the sand, the reveal of the Jumanji game comes up. So when he pulls it out, all the sand comes off and you see Jumanji.
I love that bit too, yeah.
What a good shot.
Yeah.
Alan takes Jumanji home with him and opens it up. The wooden panel doors with the little animal characters look so good. I love how the doors also have the riddles and the warning signs inside of them. The craftsmanship of this board game is stellar. Also like how the figures stick into place. I own 3 different versions of Jumanji board games.
You're so lucky.
I've got the one that you can actually play with, actually play the board game. Which I've also got one that lights up and makes the drumming sound if you have it turned on. And I also have a Jumanji board game on my keyring that opens up the board game and you can have the little dice and the characters are inside it.
So cool.
And the pieces are magnetic. One thing though about the Jumanji thing I'm going to ask you, Alice.
Yeah?
Where do you think it comes from? Do you think some sort of demon actually made this? Do you think it was just... It's magical of some sort?
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to see like a proper prequel to explain how it was made and everything, because it, seemingly just comes out of nowhere, but obviously someone had to make it. Yeah, it might be some sort of demon turned into a board game or...
Yeah, that's why I always wondered, like, was it just like a witch? Was it actual demon? Was it the devil?
Yeah, well, I guess the recent movies show that it can change and transform into something that isn't just a board game as well. So
it changed to a video game. It adapts to what era it lives in.
Yeah.
Which is scary. So it makes me think it must be some sort of magical possessed thing.
Question as to what purpose?
I think it feeds, because it goes only after kids. It doesn't go after adults. No one else can hear it as an adult. So it must be something like it knows kids are naive and will play the game. But adults obviously, well, these days adults will, because the amount of people that are into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff again.
That's true.
Amazing. So maybe these days Jumanji would attack everyone.
Yeah. Could take over the world.
But in this situation, yeah, it wouldn't work that way. It's always kind of question what the Jumanji board game is. It's always varied. It never gives you an answer.
No, not really.
Like, I wouldn't mind a movie of Jumanji where someone looks into research where it came from.
Yeah, I think as a kid, for some reason, maybe because he's the only human, but I always thought the hunter had something to do with it, like he was in charge of it, or...
He's the only human, pretty much, that's in this movie that's part of the board game as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe he is.
I don't know.
Maybe it's this physical version of what the Jumanji board game is. Is it some sort of spirit?
Maybe.
Spirit?
Yeah, he definitely seems like the boss creature of that.
Boss level.
I mean, he is human, so top of the jungle.
I'm guessing they can't look through newspaper articles as well, because every time someone wins, it reverts back and no one knows.
Yeah.
But what happens if it doesn't? Let's look through like history. That it'd be interesting if like the London fire was caused by a Jumanji game.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And that's why they didn't finish. That's why we still know that it's history.
Or like every disaster that's ever happened is just someone
just...
starting Jumanji.
So whenever there's an actual accident, that's just someone not finishing the board game.
Always finish the ball game.
Make you look at history differently too.
Yeah.
Sam talks to young Ellen in the dining room table. Well, we're on our way. Okay. I'm not sure if that's the same voice. I can't remember.
I told your father what you told me, that it wasn't just Billy Jessup.
Look, if I'd known that, I would have. It's okay, Dad. But I want you to know how proud I am of you. I mean, you faced them, even though you were outnumbered. And since you took it like a man, your mother and I have decided that you are ready to go to the Cliffside School for Boys. There.
Congratulations, sweetheart.
You don't want me living here anymore? It's always been the plan that you go to Cliffside when you were ready. I mean, parishes have been going to Cliffside ever since the 1700s. Even your Uncle Schuyler went there. I always say Cliffside. It's like funny because my dad's name's Cliff.
Oh, really?
So.
Also, I wonder what Uncle Schuyler did.
Something bad. He probably like made sandals rather than shoes. I mean,
maybe he made sneakers.
he made sneakers without shoelaces, and everyone's like, he's not part of our family.
No. How dare he?
This guy's a rebel. Look at this. Parish Hall. It's the main dormitory. This is great. Kids are on my case here because I'm a parish. Just wait till I'm living in a building named after me. It was named after my father. Good. Why don't you live in it? I did. I wouldn't be the man who I am today if it weren't for my years there. Maybe I don't want to be who you are. Maybe I don't even want to be a parish. You won't be. Not until you start acting like one. I guess I'm not ready for Cliffside then. We're taking you the next Sunday, and I don't want to hear another word about it. You won't. I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah, in hindsight, it is pretty cruel of his dad to be sending him to this place where he's definitely going to get bullied.
Yeah, and his dad's always like, take it like a man, stand up and face it. His dad has got some good points, like you should face your fears a little bit. But he takes it to the extreme, like there's no exceptions.
Yeah.
If there's no exceptions, if I was scared of, falling off a cliff, do I face it like a man and just jump off a cliff? Is that what you want, Dad?
According to him, yes.
So yeah, it's interesting at the start of this compared to the end when we go to the end as well, that his dad does mean well, but he doesn't know how to show it.
He had a bad father as well.
I think it's a parish thing. It's a parish trait. Like every man needs to stand up and be part of this heritage that is the parishes. Ellen prepares to run away from home, packing food, money, and clothes into a suitcase. Just as he's about to open the front door, there is a knock. Not to get confused with the rumbling. It's Sarah Whittle, Billy's girlfriend. What are you doing here?
I brought your bike back.
You didn't have to. I was going over to Billy's to get it myself.
I told Billy to stop picking on you.
You shouldn't have wasted your breath. We got to talk about this some other time. Drums start beating again.
What was that?
You heard it too?
Of course I heard it.
Come on, I found this really weird game in the factory.
A game?
Young Ellen pulls out the Jumanji board game. Jumanji, a game for those who seek to find a way to leave the world behind. You roll the dice to move your token, doubles get another turn. And the first player to reach the end wins. You want to play?
I quit playing board games 5 years ago.
Seriously, Sarah, what do you have against playing board games? You say you quit. What, were you a boardaholic? Like, I had to quit. You know, I was playing 23 hours or 24 hours a day.
She's very addicted.
Yeah. Young Sarah throws the dice down on the board. The game thinks she's playing. Her character starts to move on the board. They both peer into the jewel piece on the middle of the board.
At night they fly, you better run. These winged things are not much fun.
There is a squealing noise coming from the fireplace.
What was that?
I don't know.
Put it away, Alan.
Okay. I like the subtlety of that. Like, you don't know exactly what it is in the riddles, but you hear the squeak. You know something's not quite right, but then you don't know.
Yeah.
You've never seen Jumanji before, I guess. The first time you're watching this, you won't know, unless you've seen the trailer, that the whole thing is going to come to life, because there's nothing at the start of the film that tells you that. It's just the drums. Ominous setup, and the way that how terrified the kids are sets it up without actually showing you exactly what it is, so it maintains the mystique, but you know something is interesting about this.
Yeah, so good.
The chiming of the clock makes young Alan drop the dice onto the board. His character starts to move. Oh no! The game thinks I rolled!
What do you mean the game thinks?
The jewel says something else. In the jungle you must wait until the dice read 5 or 8. In the jungle you must wait. What does that mean? Young Alan's hands start to morph as he starts to get sucked into the board game. Oh my god, my hands! Oh my god, my hands! Oh my god, my hands! young Sarah is screaming as she watches this take place. Once young Alan has been fully sucked into the game, bats come flying through the fireplace and surround young Sarah. She screams as she is chased out of the house by bats.
I'm a terrible friend. Ah!
That's true. You notice that how bats usually are in real life, they don't target humans.
No.
They run away from humans. Yeah. These bats deliberately try to attack Sarah, which is really weird.
Yeah, it is.
I guess it's just Jumanji must have like turned them up to like menacing.
Yeah.
Because it's that one on their shoulders like,
I know.
He's like, what's up?
Yeah.
My name's Rick.
Hey.
What's up?
Maybe they just wanted to be a friend.
Now that your other friend's been sucked into the board game, how about me and you know what? What's up?
Yeah.
I would do a whole movie about that bat, Rick.
Oh, wow. Anyone remember?
Jumanji 4, Rick the Bat goes to Vegas.
Goes to Vegas.
Becomes a celebrity.
Oh, no.
Next up, Rick the Bat.
That's a straight to DVD one.
Yeah. And then after about 4 years of trouble on the actual fame ride, he's just at like lowly conventions saying he used to be the Bat in Jumanji, signing autographs.
You can pay him $500 to show up anywhere.
Yeah. Just get a photograph for $100 as well. Right, cut to 26 years later. Nice transition shot with the door. I do like that how it's when she runs out the door, Sarah with all the bats, you can hear her screaming still outside the door, but it transitions to the current day, which is 1995, which is not current day no more, but current day in the movie. Yeah. And it's actually aged the door quite a bit too. Yeah. It's a beautiful transition because this is a time when CGI was not at its best. Like some of the scenes in this movie show you why CGI wasn't exactly at its best at the time. Yeah. But that transition shot was nice.
I loved it. I thought it was good.
Aunt Nora and the real estate agent are walking through the parish house. It looks like it's been abandoned for quite some time. Judy and Peter are with Aunt Nora as her brother, their dad, and his wife, their mother, were killed. It is here that it is established that Peter hasn't spoken a word in public since his parents died. I like how Judy makes up this grand story of how their parents died to the real estate lady. Yeah. I was going to say yachts went down and...
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And when the yacht went down and there was a message in the bottle.
Yeah, that's right. The champagne bottle, yeah.
Yeah. And this, I say Peter has not spoken in public because later on you see that he's been talking to Judy all this time. He just doesn't speak in public anymore, so no one thinks he talks. After Judy makes up this elaborate story, Aunt Nora says they were devoted parents. It was a car crash in Canada. Because obviously Judy's walked up all this time laughing because of real estate agent thinks it's this grand story. Peter explores the house and goes into the library for the first time. This room may come back later. I do like the library. It doesn't look as big as I remember.
No, yeah.
Like, I guess I never was on set, but when I was a kid, it always seemed bigger.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Then again, you watch the Beauty and the Beast library and you go, oh, no, it's...
Pales in comparison to that, yeah.
Aunt Nora cannot seem to get into one of the rooms. The key doesn't seem to open it. Peter looks in through the keyhole and sees an old bike in amongst the cobwebs.
Oh, wonder whose bike that could be.
Could be Pee Wee Herman. My bike! My bike!
Might be.
Peter is then asked by Aunt Nora to put the suitcase in the attic. He goes into the dark attic. He shines the torch around, only for a familiar shriek of a bat to send him yelling and running. Aunt Nora investigates the attic, but when she too hears the bat, she decides against it. Cut to the morning where a pest control man is called in to investigate. Judy points to the bat that Peter saw in a book. Pest control man says that the one Peter saw couldn't have been right, as that one is an African bat, not native to New England. He tells him about a girl in the 60s, how she claims she saw some of these bats too. It's cutting back to Sarah, I think. Pest control then says how bats would be the least of his worries in this house. He then tells Judy and Peter a story about how Sam Parrish cut up his son Alan Parrish into tiny little pieces and hid them in the walls. Just reminding you all, this is a family movie.
Yeah, I gotta say, rewatching it again, I did not remember that part, and I find it very odd that he's telling a couple of children this.
He wants to scare them. He's an old man's like, I'm gonna scare the pants off these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live in this house. I wouldn't be worried about bats. You might worry about a funny smell because there's bits and pieces of kids just hidden in the walls.
It sounds like a serial killer.
All right, here's your bill. Have a good day. See you later.
Yeah.
Because Sam is Alan's dad is very cold and calculated.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of reminds me of Shawshank Redemption with Andy is on trial, but everyone thinks he's guilty because he's so cold and calculated, not because of the evidence.
Right, yeah.
So if Sam did go on trial for the murder of his son, he probably would have been found guilty because he's so cold and calculated. So that'd be interesting, the trial of Sam Parrish.
Yeah. Another spin-off.
Yeah. There's so many movies we could spin this off for as well. Like we did Big recently as well, and we talked about how the other side of the story of the mother that was waiting for her son to come home, or if he was ever going to come home, after watching so many detective shows about the first 24 hours being so important for a child kidnapping. And he's like missing for 6 weeks, so she's just come to the resolution that she's just going to find a body, if anything.
Yeah, aw.
Takes away from the 80s craziness of Big. Cut to montage. Aunt Nora is tidying the house. Judy tells Aunt Nora about the Alan Parrish murder story. But Aunt Nora just tells Judy to stop telling stories and grounds her. I think she says something about making a bed and breakfast in this place, is she?
Maybe. I can't actually remember.
Like, I can't remember if she actually mentions what she's going to do there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a massive house just for the three of them.
Be a really good bed and breakfast. Like, whatever they paid for it is probably not enough because it's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Again, 90s practical sets. Because, the amount of stuff that happens in Jumanji now, like, if this was made today, that whole house would be green screen.
Yeah, oh, it would be.
And, like, you would only, like, maybe have the stairs, but they would green screen everything so they could actually make the vines better and stuff like that. But seeing the practical sets.
I love it so much more.
This house is such a character in the movie. So you got Ellen, you got Sarah, you've got Judy, you got Peter, and you got the house. Because that transformation of the house is amazing. Judy is sleeping, but is awoken by a sound of drums. She then goes into Peter's room.
Did you hear anything a little while ago?
Peter shakes his head.
Do you miss Mom and Dad?
Wait, hold the phone. Peter is talking?
No.
Liar, cut that out or they'll send you to a shrink.
Where do you think they're going to send you if you don't start talking?
Drums start again. Peter and Judy's eyes pop open as this alerts them to something upstairs. Cut to the morning. Drum sound is still beating. Judy is distracted by it, but Aunt Nora doesn't seem to hear it. Aunt Nora leaves to run errands, while Judy and Peter wait for the bus to arrive.
You do hear it.
Hear what?
Drums beat again, spooking Peter and causing them both to run upstairs to the attic. They search the attic until they find the Jumanji board game. Peter tries to move the character pieces off the board.
Weird, they're stuck.
Jumanji, a game for those who seek to find a way to leave their worlds behind. Roll the dice to move your token, doubles get another turn. The first player to reach the end wins.
Peter pulls out the spare tokens, only for them to attach to the board.
It's got to be microchipped or something.
In the 60s, it was magnetic. Now in the 90s, it's microchips. Why can't it be good old-fashioned cursed magic?
Yeah, also, I think the first thought would just be magnetized in the 90s as well. Microchipped?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a stretch. But
It's because microchips were all the rage in the 90s.
yeah, that's true.
Any action film, and they have a lot of, we've got to get the microchip or the microfilm.
That's right.
It's microchip because it's 90s technology, and it's got like the 90s Windows 95 logo.
Oh, yeah.
You go first.
Okay.
Judy rolls 6. Her token moves along the board. Then the jewel in the middle starts to form words.
A tiny bite can make you itch, make you sneeze, make you twitch.
Judy and Peter are then attacked by big mosquitoes. Judy hits one of them with a racket through a window. The other mosquitoes escape through the broken window. Peter then rolls the dice. Judy tells him don't, but it's too late. Peter rolls double ones.
This will not be an easy mission. Monkeys slow the expedition.
Loud noises can be heard downstairs.
What is that?
Judy and Peter run to the kitchen, only to find monkeys tearing it apart. They're throwing plates and knives, raiding the fridge, and hanging from the lights. Judy and Peter run back up to the attic.
I bet those monkeys came from the game. The mosquitoes, too. Uh-oh, I didn't see this part. Adventurers beware. Do not begin unless you intend to finish. The exciting consequences of the game will vanish only when a player has reached Jumanji and called out its name.
As I was watching the movie as long too, you realise, I think it's at the end when they're going through the quicksand bit, that the events of Jumanji will not happen until the person who's played pretty much will say what the riddle is.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Because Judy says it, and after she says it, all of a sudden they're stuck in the floor. But until she actually finishes the whole riddle, Robin Williams doesn't actually, he keeps sinking through the floor.
Ah, interesting.
What if you don't actually say the riddle? Does it only happen?
Just leave it, yeah.
I don't want this one. Can I just skip this?
Yeah.
The monkeys are gone.
Good.
Peter goes to close up Jumanji.
The instructions say if we finish the game, it'll all go away. We better do it or Aunt Nora will pitch a fit. We should just get through it quickly. I mean, there's no skill involved.
Peter goes to give the dice to Judy.
No, you roll doubles. You get another turn. Roll.
5. His fangs are sharp. He likes your taste. Your party better move post haste.
I don't like the sound of that.
Cut to a long, thick tail hitting the piano keys of a piano in the attic. Something moves out from the darkness and towards Judy and Peter. It's a really fake looking lion. When you see it, it's like, God, it's like a plastic eye. It's like Islam from the old Lion Witch in the Wardrobe.
It does.
Just a, nah.
It looks so real when I was a kid, though.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that was real in the 90s.
You got to give them props for trying to go practical here, but
Yeah, they tried.
it looks like a robot lion. That'd be more terrifying if this was a robot lion.
Yeah, he had laser eyes or something.
Yeah, it started to shoot you down, and then his claws are metallic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a lion I'd be scared of in Jumanji. The lion chases them down the stairs. They look done for, when all of a sudden, a man dressed in leaves with a really big beard appears. He tricks the lion into one of the bedrooms and traps it inside. Well done, Jungle Man. It takes 29 minutes for Robin Williams to appear in Jumanji. That's almost a third of the way through the film. So there you go. It's not just a Robin Williams vehicle after all. Alan Parrish is home. He breaks into his old bedroom. Somebody roll a 5 or an 8.
He did.
Alan starts laughing and then running through the house looking for his mum and dad. Judy and Peter explain to Alan how everyone thought he was dead and how the house had been empty for a long time. So he's not chopped up in the walls like the pest control guy said. That's a relief. Alan runs out of the house and onto the street, where he almost gets hit by a police car. Alan jumps up on the bonnet. What year is it? Well, it's brand new. No, what year is it?
1995, remember?
You got some ID? Oh, let me guess. It's in your other Tarzan outfit, right? 26 years. Are you from around here? I was, but I've been in Jumanji.
Indonesia. He was in the Peace Corps.
See, Bentley. Carl Bentley? The Soul Man? Is this man related to you?
Yes, sir. He's our uncle.
Alan starts speaking monkey to try and scare the monkeys away from the police car. Carl just thinks he's nuts. The monkeys then set off the shotgun in the police car, destroying the lights on top. Then they take off in Carl's police car. Carl starts chasing the police car while Ellen runs in the opposite direction.
Hey, where are you going?
To find my parents!
Those are some smart monkeys.
Like, the monkeys are really smart at this. They know how to ride bikes, like two-wheel bikes.
And shoot guns, apparently, as well.
Yeah. Very good. And very smart. And very CGI.
Yeah. I know, they look so bad.
Yeah. Now, at the time, they looked amazing. Now they look terrible. Ellen starts to run right through the town. It's not the nice-looking neighborhood it was in the 60s. With graffiti, closed down empty stores, and nudie shops. The Angus Parish statue has been vandalized. Ellen runs to the old town Parish shoe factory. He runs inside and sees the old factory floor, now a run-down old mess. Ellen sees a man up in the office and runs up to see if it's his dad, but instead, it's a bearded, elderly man with a dog that is easily startled. What happened to the old shoe factory? Oh, it folded up like everything else in this town. When Sam thought that Ellen ran away, he put everything he had into finding him. His time, his money, everything. After a while, he just quit coming to work. He just quit caring. Ellen now realizes that his dad really did love him.
He was a good dad in the end.
He was. Ellen then gets told that his parents are over on Adams Street, buried at the cemetery. Yeah, it's again, like I say, Robin Williams, when he does heartfelt, it's really good. And you can see it in his eyes that, oh my God.
Yeah.
That his dad cared so much, he didn't even care about his job after all. It was never about the money. It was never about the grandeur. It was about his son, and I think also his legacy. Losing that legacy, he decided he kind of quit and everything.
Also, is that old man that's living in the shoe factory just meant to be homeless, or?
I think he is, but he has a nice pipe and he looks kind of elegant.
I know. I was thinking, it's a pretty nice place for a homeless guy's house.
I'd live there and I'd pay rent.
Same. Yeah.
Ellen goes to the cemetery and sees his parents' gravestone. Samuel Allen Parrish. Do you know his dad's middle name is Allen?
Ah, no.
Samuel Allen Parrish was born June 18th, 1921 and died May 6th, 1991. His mother, Carol Ann Parrish, was born on November 20th, 1930 and died on August 19th, 1991. So they only died like 3 months apart.
Yeah.
Broken heart will do that to you. Judy lets Ellen know that their parents were dead too. She then starts to lie about their deaths. So Peter cuts her off and tells Ellen that their dad was in advertising. This comes back later. Judy then tries to get Ellen to help them finish the game. Ellen refuses. Then a car crashes into an ambulance. The ambulance checks out the driver. They realize that she had what they described as having another one of those weird bites. Turns out to be Mrs. Thomas, the realtor, who sold Aunt Nora the parish house. Ellen notices a weird sound and tells the kids to get into Mrs. Thomas's car. He asks them what came out of the game before him. They mention the lion, the monkeys, and that! Peter points at one of those giant mosquitoes that is trying to get into the car. Ellen tells them to calm down as it can't get them in the car. Turns out it can, as it starts punching through the soft fabric roof. It can even punch her through the windshield. Ellen tries to drive away, saying how sometimes his dad would let him back down the driveway. Once. They awkwardly drive away with the help of Peter. Judy brings out the Jumanji board, which completely freaks Ellen out, causing him to run away. So Ellen then shaves and cuts his hair.
What happened to you? You shaved with a piece of glass?
What happened to you? Did the Clampets have a yard sale? What do you want? I've never shaved before. The dated Beverly Hillbillies references. Judy tries again to get Ellen to help them with the game, even if he just wants to watch. But Ellen says no thanks. I've seen it. He opens up the fridge and there's a cold monkey in the fridge. And it walks off and looks so disgusted that they left him in there.
Yeah, poor monkey.
Peter tells Judy not to bother as Ellen is afraid. And it's okay to be afraid. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Oh.
Whatever it is, we'll handle it by ourselves. We don't need your help.
Ellen rather aggressively grabs Peter. You notice that? He grabs him.
Yeah, he does.
It's like, whoa, easy there, Rob Williams. I don't think so. You think monkeys, mosquitoes, and lions are bad? Whoa, that's just the beginning. I've seen things only seen in your nightmares. Things you can't even imagine. Things you can't even see. There are things that hunt you in the night. Whoa, then something screams. Then you hear them eating, and you hope to God that you're not dessert. Whoa. Afraid? You don't even know what afraid is. You would not last 5 minutes without me. Whoa.
So, you're gonna help us?
I'll watch, but I'm not afraid.
Peter, that was very, very cool.
It's reverse psychology. Dad used to pull it on me all the time.
They set up the board game in the library. Ellen has been extra careful, making sure all the doors are closed.
Alan, ready?
There is no ready. Whoa. Judy rolls the dice, but nothing happens.
I'll try it again.
Judy rolls again, but still nothing.
Alan, it's not working.
Ellen examines the board for a moment, then has a chilling realization. Oh no, it's not your turn. 2 of those pieces are yours, right? Who's the other pieces? The elephant was mine. You're playing the game I started in 1969. I'm gonna have to play. Whoa. Judy tries to hand Ellen the dice. It's not my turn.
Whose turn is it?
Sarah Whittle.
He put so much emphasis on that, I noticed.
Do you think, Ellis, if you're a player in a Jumanji game, but then you die, either because of the game or from the other factors, do you think your token on the board will just stop sticking and revert back?
Yeah, maybe.
That's a question, isn't it?
I guess if you die, you lose the game, right?
Yeah, but what happens if you have a 4-player game, one of yours dies, and it's actually supposed to be a team effort because you're supposed to keep each other alive? So if one of them dies and it's their turn, you can't actually continue, so you have to stay.
Oh, that'd be bad.
So if one dies, everyone loses? That could be why, I say London fire and stuff like that.
Yeah, someone died.
Someone died and they couldn't keep the game going, so that's where it stopped. You can imagine the riddle for London fire as well. This isn't a trick. This isn't lame. Watch out or else you might get some flame. Right. Ellen and the kids go to the house where Sarah used to live to see if they knew where she was now.
Hello? Can you help us? Do you have an appointment? No, we're trying to find someone. Oh, Madam Serena can't see anyone now.
Well, maybe you can help us. Oh. The door opens up.
What is it?
We're looking for someone who used to live here.
No, I've lived here my whole life. Well, then you must know Sarah Whittle. What do you want with Sarah Whittle?
Sarah?
No, I don't go by that name anymore.
Sarah Whittle?
What do you want?
26 years ago, you played a game with a boy in the street. A game with drums.
How do you know that?
I was that little boy, Sarah.
Alan?
Sarah is shocked and stunned, then completely faints to the ground.
You killed her.
Such emphasis. You killed her. You killed her. We can't do this no more. Peter and his big balls. Ellen carries Sarah back to the parish house. This must look so dodged to anyone walking by. He's got her over his shoulder. He's carrying down the street.
Yeah, I know. That's so bad.
Sarah starts leaving messages on her therapist's answering machine.
That event we've been discussing, the one that didn't really happen. Oh boy, am I having an episode here today with the little boy that didn't really disappear. I'm sitting here in his living room drinking lemonade. Sorry, I keep changing the voice.
That's fine.
I can't help it.
If you listen to the little bit we had of the last one, Josh's mum went from being a normal crow-sounding voice lady to Arnold Schwarzenegger back to another voice.
I think I'm giving Sarah a bit of an old lady's voice, even though she's not an old lady.
That's fine. Ellen pulls out the Jumanji board game. That causes Sarah to leap out of her chair in fright. Ellen tries to reason with her, but Sarah is having none of it. 26 years ago, we started playing a little game, and now we're all going to sit down and we're going to finish it. Whoa! And guess what? It's your turn. Sarah doesn't want to, so Ellen says for her to give him the dice and she can go home. As Sarah is handing Ellen the dice, Ellen moves his hand away, causing Sarah to play her turn. Cleverly evil. He's like, just laughing. Is he evil?
Yeah, a little bit.
He should have gone, I'm sorry, I should have done that. I guess has he still got the immaturity of a kid, even though he's been in the jungle for 26? I'm not sure if he would, though. I would grow up pretty fast if I was in the jungle for 26 years.
He took way too much pleasure in doing that.
Yeah, he should have did.
They grow much faster than bamboo. Take care or they'll come after you.
It sounds like a nanny now. It's great. The roof starts to drop dust as plants start to invade the house, winding their way into the room like poison ivy from Batman style.
Yeah.
Don't touch the purple ones. They'll shoot poisonous bulbs. Oh, and definitely stay away from the pods, the big yellow ones.
What big yellow ones?
All of a sudden, Peter is grabbed by a vine around his leg and is dragged across the room. A big yellow man eating flour emerges. Alan breaks his relative's sword display. Sorry, Angus, and grabs the sword from it. He uses it to cut the vine from Peter's leg, freeing Peter. Meanwhile, Officer Carl has managed to chase down his car. Carl heads over to the old parish place to check out a suspicious character. Alan uses some of the vines to tie the doors and locks them. Sarah tries to run, but Alan grabs her.
Alan, please. Last time I played this game, it ruined my life.
Ha 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 ha! Ruined your life! Ha!
Yes.
In the jungle you must wait till the dice read 5 or 8.
I was a little girl, Alan. You disappeared and a bunch of bats surrounded me and chased me down the street. I was afraid. I'm sorry, Alan. No one believed me. I was all alone.
I love the old lady voice. It's great. I love it. So was I for 26 years, Sarah.
Me too. But if we finish the game, it will all go away. What if I get stuck in the game?
You won't, because I won't stop playing.
And neither will I.
I won't either.
Good old Peter. Good old big balls Peter. All right, guys. Hand in the middle. Go team. Sarah reluctantly agrees to keep playing. Alan rolls the dice next. A hunter from the darkest wild makes you feel just like a child.
What is it?
Fan pout. Oh. All of a sudden, there is a gunshot. Bang! And a safari-looking big game hunter starts shooting at Alan. Alan runs into the house while Van Pout gives chase. I like how they use the same actor for his dad, Sam, and Van Pout.
You're telling me this now. I had no idea.
I realise.
No!
You notice it's the same actor because he's very similar. He's like, come and fight me like a man. So he's actually like a resemblance of his dad, a reflection of his dad.
Oh, so there's like a big metaphor there.
There is.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's got to face his fears, and that's why one of his fears is disappointing his dad.
Oh.
His dad is the same actor. He's also the same actor from The Mummy. No, you must not read from the book.
Oh.
And also Titanic. He plays the guy who actually paid for and owned the Titanic.
Oh, okay.
Ismay.
Yeah.
His name was Ismay. And in the movie, he wanted the captain to go faster. I like how Alan throws his sword at him. And he goes, "Not good enough, Sonny Jim." Alan continues to run down the street. Officer Carl sees Alan running down the street and calls out on him. I'm impressed Carl recognises Alan since the last time he saw him, Alan had a full beard, long hair, and a jungle outfit on. How does he know it's him? He's just like, oh, it's the guy I saw before. But he's completely different, Carl.
It's quite odd. Maybe he sees the kids and puts 2 and 2 together, but yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah, it is. Alan gets away as Van Pout runs out of ammo. Carl looks to see where Van Pout is, but he has vanished. Carl then gets in his busted up car and drives on. Cut to Sarah talking to the kids about even if Alan gets out of the situation, it's going to keep on happening. Something about repressed anger and negative energy. Meanwhile, Alan returns to the house through a window. Judy lets it slip to Sarah that Alan didn't want to play originally either. They all return back to the library. Judy and Peter decide to keep playing while Alan and Sarah argue. Judy rolls.
Don't be fooled, that isn't thunder. Staying put would be a blunder.
Alan and Sarah keep arguing until Alan notices the rumbling sound. That's the terrible rumbling sound. Alan stops and walks towards the bookshelves at the back of the room and watches in fear as items start to shake off the shelves. This is probably the most iconic moment of the film. Run! It's a stampede! They all start to run away Ellen doubles back to grab the game just before a stampede of animals comes through the walls. I do love this scene. The wall just gets completely trampled by this massive amount of animals. The CGI is a bit iffy now, but it's still good.
I think it's probably the best CGI of the film.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree, because I do like, every time I see it, I don't go, ugh. I go, awesome, the stampede. Yeah. It's a character in itself. Don't look back, whoa. As they dive out of the way, Ellen loses his grip on the game. A pelican glides in and grabs the game. When it flies off with it, Ellen blames Peter for not grabbing it. Such a dick move.
Yeah.
Big Balls Peter is there to
I know.
to help out, and he's just like, why didn't you grab the game? I'm sorry if the 10-year-old boy didn't grab the game because you dropped it, Ellen.
Well, I do feel like Peter's the real hero here.
He is, and he's the one that Ellen seems to be hitting hard. I think it's supposed to reflect that how he felt his father was to him.
Yeah.
And again, later on, there's a scene that shows that. Ellen chases after the pelican. Apparently, it will head for water. The stampede scene is pretty good, even if the effects are a little dated, but like you say, it is the best scene in the movie, and it's not to the point where it's distracting. The phone goes off in all the rubble. Judy answers it. It's Aunt Nora. Judy then changes her accent and says she has the wrong number. I'm sorry, my dear, you have the wrong number.
That's right.
The plants start to escape the house. Van Pelt goes to a gun store. He can't get any more bullets as the gun is too old. He ends up getting a more modern, high-powered gun. Ellen finds the pelican with the game by a rock at the river. Ellen tries to grab it, but it slips and falls into the river. Peter then, determined to make up to Ellen, runs down the river to an overhanging branch and locks his legs onto the branch and flipping upside down so that he can grab the game when it travels by in the river. So you see that when he does that, Ellen is happy. He's like, yeah, but then he no, I can't show appreciation to him. So he gives him the old toss on the hair. But Van Pelt returns to the house and starts to trick Ellen from there. You can see him when he smells him, he's kind of nah. As Ellen, Sarah, and the kids are walking along the road, they are spotted by Officer Carl. Carl stops in his busted up car and reverses to meet them. That poor car.
I know.
It was brand new too, as Carl says at the start of it.
Aw.
Ellen says to hide the game. Carl goes to arrest Ellen. He resists at first, but when he sees a bullet fly past his head, he agrees to avoid the Van Pelt situation. So he knows who it is. As soon as he sees that bullet, he's like, Van Pelt's around. Had a silencer too on that rifle because no one could hear it. As Ellen is being taken away by Carl, Peter pulls out the game and plays his turn.
Judy,
What?
I thought I could end the game myself. I was only 10 spaces away.
A law of Jumanji having been broken, you will slip back even more than your token. You tried to cheat.
No, I tried to drop the dice so they landed on 12.
Oh, okay, honey. Well, that would be cheating. Peter, your hands. Look at your hands.
Meanwhile, the monkeys that escaped earlier are running through the streets. They spot the Wizard of Oz on some TVs in the shop and ransack it as the flying monkey scene is on.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I was like, funny. Just the flying monkeys. Carl was driving Ellen back to the police station. What is this about? I know you know. Yes, I do. But you wouldn't believe me even if I told you, Carl. Oh. Wait a minute. How do you know my name is Carl? I know a lot more than that. I know you used to work on the stamping line at Paris Shoes. They used to call you Soul Man. Whoa. Aha, Soul Man. Yeah, that's right. I was in there too, man, till old man Parrish fired me. He fired you? Whoa. Yeah, man. And I had something that could have really turned this whole town around. Your shoes. Right. Listen, Carl, I know it doesn't mean much after 26 years, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? It's me, Alan. Tires screech as Carl halts the car to a complete stop. Sarah is in town with Judy and Peter, who is now transformed into a monkey boy. Peter has the game in his hands.
You just saw 3 monkeys go by on a motorcycle, didn't you? Yes. Good girl. Come on.
As Sarah and the kids are looking to get money to bail out Ellen from a broken ATM, Van Pelt grabs the game out of Peter's hands. Then a crowd distracts Van Pelt for a moment, so Peter snatches the game back. Van Pelt gives chase. The stampede is making its way through town. Peter tries to hide in the car to avoid it, but the stampede just runs right through the car, crushing it, which leaves Peter trapped inside. Van Pelt wedges the game free from the wreckage. I love the little rhino at the end of the stampede that is always struggling to keep up the pace.
Oh, yeah. He looks kind of friendly.
As he's running along, like, oh, that little rhino's great. Van Pelt makes his way into a Sir Save-A-Lot retail store. Sarah and the kids give chase. They see the game unattended in the store. This certainly will not be a trap. Sarah casually goes to grab it, when suddenly she is grabbed by Van Pelt. Oh wait, no, so it was a trap. Van Pelt is going to use Sarah as bait to lure Alan to him. Peter bites Van Pelt's leg, while Judy uses a scanner to blind him.
Price check.
Register comes up as no sale. Meanwhile, Alan is trying to convince Carl to let him go. Carl does eventually agree to let him go, and takes the handcuffs off Alan. As he does this, Alan spins around and handcuffs Carl to his own car door. Then he throws the keys away. As Alan is running away from Carl, he hears on the police radio about a hostage situation at a Sir Save-A-Lot store involving a woman and 2 children. The radio also describes Van Pelt as well. Alan decides he will use Carl's police car to get there. This leads to a funny situation as Carl is still handcuffed to the door. Poor Carl.
I know. I don't really understand why he handcuffs him in the first place, but
I don't understand why Carl was so happy to help Alan. Like, Alan says, I want this, okay, I want this, okay, I want this. He's a police officer that has procedures. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, this guy, I believe him, even though I met him in a jungle suit just like 2 hours ago, asking what year it was.
clearly cannot be a cop from America.
And he's just like, oh, he's in blind faith. It's me, Alan. It's like, yeah, I guess he told him a bit about the history of him working there. But, you know, if he'd been locked up for a while, he could have been looking at stories about Paris, maybe on a documentary, the history of Paris shoes. And could talk about people who used to work there.
Very, very trusting.
Cut to the Sir Save-A-Lot store where Peter seems to be home alone in it, planning a trap inside the store, involving a kayak and other items. Judy and Sarah are playing keep away with Van Pelt as they use a shopping trolley to move the board game around the store. Oops, now Peter has an oxygen tank. What is he doing? As Alan and Carl are driving to the Sir Save-A-Lot, they are approached by a police bike. Carl tells Alan not to worry as they will back him up. As the bike pulls up beside them, they realise that the police bike is the one that the monkeys hijacked.
Those damn monkeys.
One of the monkeys has a handgun.
Okay.
At the back,
Yeah.
just showing it,
interesting.
holding the gun in the air. Terrifying. Now Peter is pouring some laundry detergent all over the store floor. Let's see what happens here. Judy sees Van Pelt and runs away. Van Pelt gives chase, only to slip into the washing detergent. As he gathers his balance, he sees Peter pull down a welding mask. Peter uses a weights bench and what looks to be a cord and a handle of a row machine to activate the oxygen tank and send the kayak into Van Pelt. Kevin McAllister would be proud. It's such a Home Alone
It
thing.
is, yeah.
I was waiting for when he was making all the stuff up. I was waiting for the
2 bandits show up, slipping everywhere.
and the iron. More irons is dropped from the roof. Nails on stairs. Van Pelt is sent into a wall. You can see and hear him scream as he's sliding along. He gets up pretty quickly though. Van Pelt shoots a chain off the tyre shelf, sending a bunch of tyres in Sarah and the kids' direction, knocking them down. Stop your cringing, woman! I could have shot you at any moment.
Then why didn't you?
You didn't roll the dice. Alan did. Alan and Carl arrive at a Sir Save-A-Lot. Alan goes to hit the brakes, but the brake light is busted. This sends the police car crashing right into the store, eventually stopping when the car hits the paint shelves. I like Van Pelt here. He's like, Alan should be here any moment.
Yeah, how does he know?
He just, I don't know, maybe he can sense him. Maybe he has like radar,
Yeah.
a video game GPS to find him. Yeah, so eventually stopping when the car hits the paint shelves. The paint shelves go crashing over and straight into Van Pelt. Ouch. That would hurt. You can just see the whole wall come down and smack straight into his face. That would kill you.
Yeah, how did he live through that?
Well, I guess he's a spirit from the Jumanji board game, so he can't die. But if that had been Final Destination, they would have showed you how he would have died. Sarah grabs the game, Ellen asks where Peter is. Ellen then sees that Peter is now a monkey boy. Cut to Aunt Nora listening to a self-help cassette tape as she is driving along the road. When the tape ends, she turns the radio on and hears what has been happening around Brantford. As Aunt Nora is waiting at the traffic light, the stampede goes rushing past her. Again, that little rhino that is struggling to keep up is great.
It's probably good she was listening to some self-help with what was coming her way.
Yeah, she's been thrown, no one really speaks about how this has affected Aunt Nora. She has had 2 kids thrusted upon her
Yeah.
when she probably, obviously doesn't have kids herself, so she maybe didn't even want kids.
So in a way, I mean, in a twisted way, Jumanji actually benefited her.
Yeah.
Like them finishing the game.
Everyone gets a happy ending, so maybe it is like a morale thing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go through the worst of things to get the best of things. As Aunt Nora gets out to watch the stampede, a monkey jumps in her car. Aunt Nora starts to drive off when the monkey makes a noise and startles Aunt Nora. This causes her to crash into a ditch. That's just a good quick way for her to lose a car.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, that scene.
Yeah. It's like, where's that monkey's like off? He's not with the other group. So I wonder where he went. This must be a loner monkey. Carl was dragging the car door along the Sir Save-A-Lot and finds a hacksaw. He starts to saw off the handcuffs. As Ellen, Sarah and the kids are walking back to the parish house, Sarah asks Ellen to talk to Peter as he is sad and crying. This is very similar to the beginning of the film when Ellen's mum tells Ellen's dad, Sam, to talk to Ellen. Is that a reflection of that conversation as well? That's why he kind of goes in like his dad.
Yeah.
I warned you about this, Peter. Oh. No, you wanted to play the game. What? Are you crying? You don't cry. You keep your chin up. Come on, keep your chin up. Crying never helped anybody do anything, okay? You have a problem, you face it like a man. Then Ellen comes to a realization. Hey, I'm sorry. 26 years buried in the deepest, darkest jungle, and I still became my father. It's okay, come here. I'm sorry. Hey, it's all right. Remember what you told me? It's all right to be afraid.
It's not that.
What is it? Peter whispers in Ellen's ear. Oh. Ellen then helps Peter by grabbing his tail and ripping it through his pants. The pain of the tail stuck in his clothes was too much. So he wasn't crying because he was disappointed or felt ashamed by Ellen. He was crying because his tail hurt.
He was growing a tail.
Yeah. And I guess when you're that age, we're all growing a tail, but the other way around. Ellen, Sarah, and the kids return to the parish house. The plants have taken over the house, making it look like a jungle. Suddenly, I feel right at home. Meanwhile, Carl gets his police car running, slams the bonnet down, which causes the bonnet to fall off. As Carl enters the driver's side, which no longer has a door, the door ajar lights up on the dash. Carl reverses out of the Sir Save-A-Lot and drives off, and Van Pelt starts moving from the paint cans. Oh, menacing. Carl is driving along when he sees Aunt Nora waving him down from the side to the middle of the road. So she's like on the side, then she's like, I'm just going to get run over, I don't care. Aunt Nora was very close to being grabbed by a vine. Carl asks if there is a problem. Aunt Nora asks for a ride home. Carl asks where she lives. Aunt Nora says Jefferson Street, the old parish place. Carl then asks if she has children, a boy and a girl. Nora asks what happened. A lot of asking in this. Carl tells her to get in and he'll explain on the way. Nora starts to scream as some vines grab the car, fold the car in half, and drag it away into the bushes. So long, police car. You had a tormented life.
What did they want with the police car?
I don't know, but I think it's just a gag that every time Carl meets someone, part of his car gets destroyed.
Or his shoe, or...
Yeah.
He's got bad luck, that dude.
He's like going to get fired for so many jobs, and none of it's his fault.
I know.
Every time a mistake is made in this movie with Carl, it's never his fault.
No.
But he's the one that has the repercussions.
The poor guy.
Yeah. I say, let Carl just have a good day.
Yeah.
I really like how much the previous items from the game keep showing up in the town, whether it be the plants or the monkeys or the news reports that the radio is talking about the mosquito bites, or the stampede running through the town. Every move Ellen, Sarah, and the kids make continue to have consequences on the town itself. So it's not just the current problem they have.
Yeah. It's
previous-
everything.
The previous problems keep coming back in a big way, and like that reminds you that how dangerous this board game is. Carl and Nora run along the road towards the parish house. Ellen, Sarah, Judy and Peter open up the game in the forest-looking house and start to play again.
Every month at the quarter moon, there'll be a monsoon in your lagoon. Monsoon? Well, at least we're inside.
Yeah, right. Thunder crashes and lightning strikes as rain starts to pour into the house.
Well, a little rain never hurt anybody.
Yeah, but a lot of rain can kill you. Come on. Whoa. Ellen folds up the game as the group heads to higher ground. The water really starts to pour in. Then, to make matters worse, crocodiles start swimming in. Crocodiles are apparently a lot more bad-tempered than an alligator, making them far more dangerous to a human. There you go. I thought I'd put a crocodile fact in there.
Little tip.
This scene with the crocodile attacking the group on the table and on the chandelier is a really good sequence. Ellen wrestles the crocodile to save Sarah. Again, practical effects.
It looks really good.
The rain coming down, the crocodile looks pretty good as well. You don't really notice it so bad. It just looks so good. That would all be CGI now.
It would be. It'd probably look pretty bad with CGI, actually.
Yeah.
I think because it was sort of covered with water and everything, they pulled it off.
It looks really good. Carl and Aunt Nora arrive at the house. They can hear screaming, so Carl tries to kick in the door. The door just cracks a little, but the pressure of the water inside stretches the crack, causing the door to burst open, draining the house of the water. Peter saves Ellen from being washed out the door. The shot of Officer Carl and Aunt Nora surfing on the doors while the crocodile goes past is pretty corny, but I do like that sort of stuff.
I like how, it looks like they're boogie boarding.
And he's like, oh my God, ah.
They almost look like they're having fun.
Yeah, I love Carl's scream. Like, he hears that scream here. He hears that scream when the plant's coming through the door. And
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
fine, take it. I love Carl. He underrated.
Alan, you wrestled an alligator for me.
Oh, it was a crocodile. Alligators don't have that little fringe on their hind legs. Oh.
My mistake.
Ellen and the group head up to the attic to continue the game. Ellen's turn. Beware the ground on which you stand. The floor is quicker than the sand. Ellen starts to sink through the floor. The group try to find things to help pull them out. Stop giving me things that come apart. That's so sad. Like, he has like a handle of like a stand that pops off. A trumpet.
Yeah.
They get a trumpet to try and get him. Not the ice cream, but the actual musical instrument. That pulls apart. If he actually got a trumpet ice cream, he'd be saved because you can't beat a trumpet.
That's true. Can't beat a trumpet.
Delicious ice cream with nuts.
Not sponsored.
And
Or is
sauce.
it?
It can be if it wants to. If they want to give me free trumpets,
Yeah.
come my way, please.
Be worth it.
I'll take it. Meanwhile, Judy has rolled the dice for her turn.
There is a lesson you will learn. Sometimes you must go back a turn.
Sarah has her hand on Ellen, trying to keep his mouth up so he can breathe. With Judy's turn reversing the quickstand, Ellen and Sarah are now stuck in the floor. This is what I talked about before when it didn't free harden until she actually finished the riddle.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to say it. Maybe it just has to fully show up on the jewel because it wasn't fully there when she started to say the riddle.
Because it sort of fades into view.
Yeah. Give it a bit of the doubt that the whole time they could have just not said the riddle and they would have been fine. Sarah and I would like to get out of the floor, so it's your turn, Peter. Peter rolls for his turn.
I thought I'd lost you again.
Thanks for sticking around this time. Sticking around because they're stuck in the floor. You get it? That's an exceptional pun. It's an exceptional pun. I look at this like if I was in the movie cinema now and I heard that, but yes, that's how you do it. All right, that's an exceptional pun.
Standing ovation.
Yeah. Everybody around me's like looking at me like, all right, next time there's a good pun. I ain't going to say anything and you guys are going to miss out on an absolute treat. You're welcome. Peter reads the Jumanji riddle.
Need a hand? Why, you just wait. We'll help you out. We each have 8.
All of a sudden, a giant spider starts descending from the roof in front of the attic window. And more start marching along from the back. You notice that? They're all like marching like, we're our spiders. There's like a whole line of them. They're very uniform. They're like that. Military spiders.
Yeah.
Peter, my dad kept an I put axe, but Peter, my dad kept an awesome in the woodshed.
Yeah, I saw that.
When Word goes wrong. When Microsoft Word decides to replace
Another name for X.
axe with awesome. What was they thinking? Peter, my dad kept an axe in the woodshed. Go get it. Judy tries to fend off the spiders while Peter runs to get the axe. As Peter runs down the stairs, Aunt Nora comes inside and is shocked of how the house now looks. Peter runs into the shed, but there is a lock on it. He looks to see an axe propped up beside the shed, so he uses it to start breaking the padlock, only to stop and realize that he didn't need to get in the shed anymore, as he has the axe.
Good one, Peter. Also, he breaks the fourth wall.
He does, yeah. He looks at the camera.
Yeah.
You're right. Peter runs back inside after that. He's got to be careful with the axe, or his big balls are going to get cut off, because he's got such a deep voice.
He does, yeah.
I love how Aunt Nora just sees Ellen's legs just dangling from the ceiling.
She just freaks out.
His legs on the ceiling. I'm like, yeah. And then he's swinging them around like, la 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 la. Yeah, so I love how Aunt Nora just sees Ellen's legs just dangling from the ceiling and then finds the lion in her bedroom. When Aunt Nora sees Monkey Peter, she freaks out and backs into a closet. Peter locks her in there for her own safety.
I mean, he is wielding an axe.
And he's a monkey boy.
Yeah.
Monkey boy with an axe would look kind of terrifying. It's Sarah's turn, but since her hands are stuck in the ground, she has to put the dice in her mouth and spit roll them. See, this is obviously a Jumanji before COVID, because you wouldn't be able to do that in this current state of affairs. As Judy is grabbing the game for Sarah, a floorboard comes loose and a purple flower pops up. It shoots a barb into Judy's neck. Peter axes some spiders a question. There you go. See, I'd be up in the movie theater again going, that's an exceptional pun. Peter axes some spiders a question while Judy collapses. Sarah has spit rolled the dice.
You're almost there with much at stake, but now the ground begins to quake.
Judy.
The spiders close in on Ellen and Sarah while Peter holds Judy in his arms. As she starts to fade from the poisonous barbs, she tells Peter that she wishes that Mum and Dad were here. It's a nice little touching scene. But then there is a rumble. The spiders seem to get scared by this and run away. The ground starts to split apart. Her only chance is if we finish the game. He's speaking about Judy from dying. Otherwise, if they don't finish the game, she's done for because there's no cure for the poison. For the barb in her neck. The barb Duran. Right, Ellen then starts to fall through the floor. Ellen yells to Sarah to grab the game, but she refuses to let Ellen fall. Kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones and Last Crusade.
Yes.
Where Indy's reaching for the Grail.
Yeah.
And that's when his dad, for the first time, because he always calls him Junior, because his name's really Henry Jr., but the first time in the film he says, Indiana, let it go.
Yeah.
So then he does, and he grabs his hand. But yeah, this reminds me of that.
That's right, yeah. Little did she know he was a monkey man, though. She totally could have let him go.
Yeah. As when his hands were stuck in the floorboards with her, and he touches her face, you can see how hairy his arms were.
Yeah.
My God, Robin Williams, you are just a monkey man. The game falls through the floor, but nicely lands on the ground, folding back up in the process. So it drops and just goes, blop, fold up.
It saved itself.
Save all the dice and everything. Yeah. Sarah eventually loses her grip on Ellen, so he grabs a vine and swings from it. Ellen swings down and grabs the game before crashing through the library doors. Ellen opens up the game and grabs the dice. Don't move! Stand up! What's in your hand? Ellen just glances at his hand but says nothing. Drop it! As anyone's wondering, Van Pelt has actually seen him. I didn't actually say Van Pelt was here, but it's Van Pelt. Ellen drops the dice. One lands on the board, but the other one falls through the crack in the floor, causing it to roll for a while. End of the line, Sonny Jim. Game's up. Start running. No. Aren't you afraid? I'm terrified. Oh. But my father told me you should always face what you're afraid of. Oh. Good lad. You're finally acting like a man. Any last words? The dice that went through the crack finally stops rolling. It's a 2. The other die was a 1. And Ellen needed 3 to win. Jumanji. Huh? It's Jumanji. Van Pelt goes to shoot Ellen. Sarah runs in and jumps in front of him. Van Pelt fires. The bullet goes right up to Sarah's face before stopping and then turning to dust as it got sucked back into the game. The gun that Van Pelt is now using didn't originate from the game. He got it from a gun store. So it's interesting that it also gets sucked into the game.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not actually part of Jumanji. You think the gun would just drop.
Also, definitely a redeeming moment for Sarah,
Yeah, it is.
who initially ran away.
She was all about herself. This is her being selfless now. Yeah, everyone has an arc in this. Like Judy and Peter are learning to obviously not play with bad ball games before school, but also learning more about themselves. About, her lying, what she got him talking, just learning to cope and almost like wanting a family again. Well, Robin Williams obviously is trying to not be his father. All the things that come out of the game start to get sucked back in, including the stampeding animals, the monkeys, and Van Pelt himself. It's a bit goofy that Van Pelt's head gets stuck for a moment before going back in. After all, some elephants just went back in with no trouble. That doesn't make sense.
He's got so much willpower to stay, I think.
I guess his ego is that big that his head can't fit through.
Yeah.
Once the game has reverted the exciting consequences, Alan and Sarah are left hugging one another. Only it's their younger versions, as they have gone back to 1969, as that was when the game was started. The door opens and Alan's dad walks in, as he forgot his speech notes. Young Alan goes to his dad and hugs him. Dad, I'm so glad you're back. I've only been gone 5 minutes. It seems like a lot longer to me. Hey, I thought you told me you were never going to talk to me again. Whatever I said, Dad. I'm sorry. Look, Alan, I was angry. I'm sorry too. Look, you don't have to go to Cliffside if you don't want to. Sam sees Sarah. Let's talk about it tomorrow, man to man. How about father to son? Great. Hey, I gotta get going. I'm the guest of honor after all. Dad? Back in 1960... today in the factory, it wasn't Carl Bentley's fault. I put the shoe on the conveyor belt. I'm glad you told me this, son. Thanks. Bye, Dad. Goodbye. Alan freaks out about Judy and Peter, but Sarah reminds him that it's 1969 and Peter and Judy do not exist. Young Alan and young Sarah tie some rope and bricks to the Jumanji board game and throw it in a river. I didn't mention this before, but why didn't they try burning it? Why does everyone just try and drown it?
Yeah, it seemed pretty irresponsible to just...
Throw it away.
Yeah,
Because someone else is going to find it eventually.
definitely.
At least with the newer version with Welcome to the Jungle at the end, they smashed it.
Yeah.
But obviously they can bring it back. Yeah. But this one, they didn't even try burning it. I'd love to see a montage with someone just trying to burn it, but it won't burn.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Burn for like a day and nothing happens to it. Yeah. That would be awesome. Just to show you just how it can't be destroyed.
Yeah. Or it puts itself back together like the Iron Giant every time it's destroyed.
That would be cool as well. Again, why aren't they doing this? Cut to many years later during a Christmas party at the parish house. A pregnant Sarah is handing out food, while Alan, dressed as Santa, is talking to his dad on the phone about a new range of pair of shoes. Seems like Alan took over the business. Sarah informs Alan that they're here. Alan gets off the phone and is introduced to Judy and Peter. Alan seems to have remembered what Peter told him about his dad being in advertising before he died, so Alan has hired him for a pair of shoes. They have some marketing they must work on, but first they want to take a holiday to Canada. Alan and Sarah both yell, "No!" which stops the party, as this is the trip that they die on. Alan and Sarah apologize and make up a lie about needing the marketing done on the new line pronto. Alan and Sarah have just saved Judy and Peter's parents' lives. The question I get from this last scene, Alice? 1. Do Judy and Peter recognize Alan and Sarah? I can never really tell.
Yeah, I always thought they did when I was a kid, but watching it again, I'm not so sure.
They're kind of hi and embarrassed and stuff, but yeah, they never really...
Yeah.
Would have been something, I guess, because they're obviously saw them for one day in the whole life.
Sarah and Alan are definitely acting like a couple of nuts.
They are, we need it done now, screw Christmas. Yeah, it's they are acting a little weird, but hey, if it saves their lives, I guess. Yeah, so one, do Judy and Peter recognize Alan and Sarah? I can never really tell. And number two, did Alan and Sarah mess with Death's design by saving Judy and Peter's parents, therefore creating a Final Destination situation?
Oh, I hope not.
So Death could be coming after them all.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Final Destination Jumanji.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on a beach somewhere, possibly in France, the Jumanji board game washes up. That ends the movie. I've got this little bit at the end here too. I wonder, in all the lore and history of Jumanji, if anyone has ever been killed. No one to my knowledge has died in any of the 3 films so far, not counting the video game lives. I mean actual death due to the game. But then again, we did speak at the start how we thought maybe some of history's most tragic disasters were possibly created by people who died during Jumanji and they couldn't finish the game.
Yeah, that would make sense. And also the hunter as well. Is he someone who initially played the game and got lost in the jungle?
Possibly. It's never explained, so it's all opinion. But I think it's a spirit of Jumanji. So maybe it's like a human form of it. Because I think it's a spirit as well, because I don't think the hunter necessarily looks like his dad all the time. I think it was a reflection.
Like a reflection of your biggest fear.
Yeah, so kind of like in Harry Potter when they have that closet and they do that thing.
Yeah.
And Snape comes out for one of them. Jumanji is a film that I truly love. It's a treasure that I keep going back to again and again. I enjoyed the other 2 films that followed with The Rock and Jack Black, etc. But for me, they don't hold a candle to the first one.
I agree. This is the best.
I've got here as well, in the future films when Jumanji is a video game, Jumanji is a bustling and busy world with all kinds of animals and people. Alan says he was alone in the jungle for 26 years. Were all the people in the video game world all NPCs or non-playable characters for the updated video game version? Or did Alan lie about being alone?
Good question.
Because the new ones, obviously, you see the world is vastly different.
Yeah.
I guess they could all be NPCs, but...
And maybe they adapted it over time as well. You know, like the jungle changed and transformed.
Would have been cool if baboons came out of the Jumanji as well.
Yeah.
Last one that came out, the next level, that baboon scene. I still love that. Again, though, that shows you green screen. Like, it looks cool, but if they could have done it in the 90s, it would have looked so much more practical and awesome.
Yeah. I prefer the practical effects, even if they do look a little dated. But
Yeah. Right, Ellis, let's see how we rate Jumanji from 1995.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Maha!
Right, so let's do the ratings for our review of Jumanji. Ellis, for story, out of 5 stars, what have you rated it?
so I have rated story 5 stars.
5 stars?
And maybe some of it is nostalgia talking a little bit, but I love that movie, and watching it again, it's just as good as it was when I was a kid.
I don't know if nostalgia plays as much of a part as we might think it does, because a lot of movies I've watched as a kid, I've gone back to watch as an adult and cringed.
That's true, yeah.
So the fact that you can go back and watch this and it still be as good as you remember, it may even better.
Yeah.
That's a true calling of a good movie. Because, funny enough, Alice, I have also given this 5 stars.
Ooh.
5 stars. The story is really, really good. It's engaging. It's really good at putting every facet of the film in there. So you got the characters going through there, kind of like what they have to go through personally. You've also got the characters having to deal with what's happening in the game currently, but also having the world and them deal with the decisions they made previously as well. Consequences of your actions is something that this one really shows you and kind of promotes. There's true consequences to your actions, and just the fact that you could decide to ignore them, like Sarah did for 26 years, or face them and come out better off because of it.
I feel like it ties it all up in a nice bow, actually. Every single story arc and character arc is great. Perfect.
Yeah, that's true. 5 and 5. Right, so for acting, Alice, I have given it a 5 out of 5. Robin Williams is great. Kirsten Dunst, child actor, is great. Bradley Pierce as Peter is great. And Bonnie Hunt, I think, is really good as Sarah as well. She can be a little bit annoying, but I think she's pretty good.
She's got a charisma to her, though, I think.
Yeah. David Allen Greer, who played Bentley as well, Carl, I think he was really, really good.
Yeah, he was great.
Every single person who's in this pretty much works.
Yeah, I agree.
There's not one person that doesn't. So if a movie's really good and you really like it and every character works, you got to give the actors the props. So 5 stars. So you're getting it 5 as well.
Yeah, I'm giving it 5 as well. I thought everyone was perfect. I mean, obviously Kirsten Dunst is, you know, a massive movie star now. And Robin Williams is classic. And yeah, I liked Sarah. Yeah, everyone was great.
Kirsten Dunst actually was in a darker film before this as a young girl.
I think I know the one.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's really good.
I saw it later in life after this, but yeah. She plays a little vampire pretty well for like, she was what, 6 or 7 in it?
Yeah, I think so. Playing an adult, basically, in a child's body.
Yeah, she's one of the few actresses or actors that has actually transitioned properly from a kid to an adult actress.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman's one as well, but not a lot of them are. Yeah. Most of them, the pressures get to them, the drugs get to them, their parents rip them off for their money, or the fact that the experiences have been so bad as a kid, they don't want to actually keep doing it. So good on you, Kirsten Dunst, for carrying on. Right, so question 3, how well does it hold up? What have you given it, Alice?
So I've given it a 5 as well. And I know there definitely were some bits in the film that maybe haven't held up the best, but I still think in the grand scheme of things, it's a 5.
Doesn't distract you from the film?
No, not at all. I think it's great.
Fair enough. I've given it a 4 because of that reason. There are some elements that are a little bit dated,
Yeah.
mainly CGI, but it's still very, very good. It doesn't distract you, like you say, too much from actually watching the movie, but it is noticeable in some areas. So a 4 for me. For music, I have given it a 4.5. I haven't taken off the 0.5 because it hasn't got a memorable theme.
Yeah.
If it had a memorable theme that kind of ran through the movie a bit,
That's true, yeah.
I would give us a perfect 5. But the fact that James Horner takes this music and like just makes it a character, like the drumming or just the music intensifies or doesn't intensify depending on the scene, it gives you just a really nice kind of emotional kind of balance to what the rest of the film's doing. So what have you given it?
So I've given it a 5 as well. So I see what you're saying. It doesn't have a particularly memorable theme, but I do think even just the drumming itself is so memorable and such a staple of the film.
No, fair enough. So all 5 so far.
Yep.
Visuals, how good does it look? What have you given it?
So again,
Perfect.
so I've given it a 5. I did think about rating it a bit lower as well as how well it holds up. But I think for the time that it came out and how well it's holding up now, I think it's really good. And I love the use of practical effects. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5. Perfect score.
Fair enough. So a perfect score, the first perfect score in movie review universe on one side of the host, because it's not obviously a perfect score from both sides, but you gave it 25. I gave it 22.5. So you, out of story, because I gave it 4 out of 5 for how good it looks. I keep forgetting to actually say at the end of what I've gone for how good it looks. Visuals are good at 4. It does look really good, but it doesn't look exceptional like some movies can.
Yeah.
So it's good without being great. So very good without being great because it's 4. So for story, you gave it 5. I gave it 5. For acting, I gave it 5. You gave it 5. For how well it holds up, I gave it 4 and you gave it 5. For music, you gave it 5 and I gave it 4.5. And for visuals, I gave it 4 and you gave it 5. So this gives it a grand total of 47.5 stars. This is a new leader in the movie review universe. Batman and Big, the first 2 ones we did in movie review universe, were actually equal. They got exactly the same scores. In Big, I didn't actually have my one count because there was 3 hosts that day. But yeah, this one is now the top because the other ones were 44.5 stars, and this has beaten it by 3 stars.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a clearance. This is going to be a very hard score to beat.
Well, I feel like it deserves it. I have a very sentimental place in my heart for Jumanji.
I do too. I think Jumanji is going to be one that's going to be hard to beat, and it should be because there are no weaknesses to this movie apart from maybe the CGI.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there is no weaknesses that I can really argue. So the fact that it's top of the board, I'll be happy to see it top of the board for some time. Yeah, so that'll be very good to see. So that is our ratings review. We gave it 47.5 stars out of a possible 50 stars. That is very well done. Congratulations, Jumanji. Your award will be in the mail. Again, if you'd like to write into the show and give us your thoughts on Jumanji, or maybe how bad our voices were, well, you can. Who knows, we might read it on air. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. Thank you, Alice, for joining me for Jumanji 1995. What a fun film this is.
Oh, so fun.
So good. And thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll come back again for another Movie Review Universe, or perhaps one of the other shows, a video game movie pitch, or Worst of the Worst. Either way, hope to see you again soon, and thank you for listening. And remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it Bennett. Take care.
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad. Then nobody does it Bennett.